is a mini lesson in using your graphing calculator to not only enter data and create a scatter plot, and the best feature of all, for your calculator to come up with the equation for the points from your data. Okay, first of all, what we need to do is we have to clear the memory of our calculator. So I'm going to turn on the calculator and I hit the clear button. Now, normally when you see clear and you hit it, you think that everything's gone. However, it's not. What happens if you don't clear it completely, you'll notice that there's some numbers here that I actually have entered earlier today. So even when I hit clear here, it's not going to disappear. So the first thing that we have to do when we clear the memory, and for most of you this is review, we do second plus sign, 7, all RAM, which is 1, reset is number 2. And notice the RAM is cleared. The next thing we want to do is we want to enter data. Now, when we're talking about data, we're talking about entering points. So it says to enter data, I'm supposed to go to stat. Now stat is this button here. And notice when I have stat, I have numerous items here. I have edit, calc, tests, and some other things. What I want to do is edit. I want to actually put some data into the graphing calculator. So I'm going to put 1. Now the data I'm going to enter is the following. So I'm just going to make up these are my X values. And so I have 6 points so far, 6 X's, so I have to have 6 Y's. So I think I'm going to go 9, 7, 5, 3, 1, and a -1. So normally I would have data from different places. It could be that I did an experiment and this is my data, and so I'm going to enter it into the graphing calculator. It could be that someone already has the data and I need to enter it in. So right now the data is in here and it's just sitting there. So now what I need to do is want the calculator to be able to do something with it. In many cases, I want it to create a scatter plot. So in other words, I want it to graph those points. Now what happens when you enter it in, and if I hit graph, notice nothing is there. So my graphing calculator has to be told to create a scatter plot. And the way we do it is we do second y equals. And we come up with this screen here. Now you can see that there's numerous scatter plots. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, and actually the calculator will actually graph a lot more than that, especially the newer ones. So the first thing I'm going to do, I'm just going to choose the first scatter plot. And you can see that the cursor is on the number 1, so I'm just going to hit enter. So now what happens, I'm at this screen. Now this screen has numerous items on it. And I'm just going to move down my screen for a second so we can look at it a little more closely and add a few things that might make it easier when we look back. I want to turn the scatter plot on. So right now it's off, so I'm going to hit enter. So now it is on and the off has been disabled. I can choose from this menu what kind of graph I want. Now, this is the first one I do want. It is a scatter plot. This one's a little bit different again. I can even do a bar graph with the graphing calculator. The next is X list and Y list. This just tells your calculator where the data is. Now, if you remember, if I go back to my stat, my data is in L1 and L2. And I want the calculator to recognize that L1 is my X and L2 is my Y. So when I'm creating this scatter plot, I want to make sure that this says L1 and L2. If not, I have to actually choose it. Then what I get to choose is I also get to choose how I want the point to look on the screen. So here I can make it look like this. I can make it look just like a little X, like a plus sign, or just a tiny dot. Usually I don't pick a tiny dot. It's just way too tiny for me, and I usually pick a little bit larger one. So that's what I've chosen. And then when I hit graph, I can see that I have some points. Okay, so this time it has graphed it for me. But to tell you the truth, I would like it to be a little bit better than that. I'd like to zoom in. So it's actually quite easy once data has been put in. I can zoom by using the following. So it says here that I'm going to go to the zoom button, which is just below the graph. So zoom, and notice you have all these options. Now, because I entered data, I'm going to go down to zoom stat. It's statistic that I want it to look at, okay, or zoom fit. Okay, either zoom fit or zoom stat. Uh, if you notice on the note here, I have number 9. So this is what it looks like if I choose 9. You can see it's much closer. If I go back and I choose, sorry, if I choose 0, which was the other option, you can see it's almost the same. So either 9 or 0 will zoom right into the data. So now what we have is we have the calculators given us a scatter plot. However, I can't make a line of best fit because it's on the graphing calculator. So I can actually make the graphing calculator take that information and give me the equation. Now, when I look at this relationship, to me it looks linear. In fact, I know it's linear because I actually put the data in. So what I want to do is I want to tell the graphing calculator, come up with the equation of the line that fits these points the best. So the way I can do that is it's a thing called regression. Now, mathematically, regression is very difficult. It takes a lot of arithmetic and mathematics involved with it. But using the graphing calculator is a wonderful application, actually, of the graphing calculator itself. That's why it's called a graphing calculator to a certain degree. So up this comes. So again, it's in the statistics area. So I'm going back to stat. This time, however, I'm not going to choose edit. I'm going to choose calc. And if you notice in the diagram here, I have calc highlighted. When I do that, I have a whole list of different items. Now, some of these, when we're doing statistics, we're going to choose, but in many cases, I just want the graphing calculator to come up with the equation. Now, this stands for linear regression. Okay, I can go to quadratic regression, cubic, and there's quite a few different ones. Notice there's another linear regression here as well. This one, however, has a plus bx. In this case, b is the slope. What I'm going to choose in most cases is this one here. So I'm going to choose, in this case, number 4. I'm going to enter, and I end up with this screen here. It says linear regression ax plus b. Still, I don't have the equation, the line, so I hit enter. So this is what the calculator has given to me. Okay, and if you notice, I actually have it over here as well because this was the data I had previously entered. So it gives me the variables, it gives me the coefficient that goes with the variables in the general equation they give me here. So if I actually take that information now, and I will, I'm just going to take green, I can see that this is the equation they're referring to. So I'm going to go y equals, the graphing calculator told me that a was -2. I need to keep my x, and it also told me b was 11, so plus 11. So this actually, the graphing calculator says this is the equation of the line for the data you put in. Now what you could do is you actually could enter that equation into the graphing calculator. Notice it's not there, but I can go to y equals, and notice you've been here many times, and I can actually enter that equation into here that the graphing calculator calculated. Okay, and if I hit graph this time, notice it actually drew the graph for me. Okay, that's your first lesson, mini lesson in the graphing calculator.